Hello, members and friends of First Parish Brewster. I thought I would make a video for you today to give you a bit of an update about me and my return to Cape Cod. And I also want to name that it feels a little weird to make this video right now with all that is happening in our nation. And so I'm just holding in my heart all of the protesters, all of the reasons for protesting, all of the people of color whose hearts are broken and angry and grieving right now because they have been broken and angry and grieving for so long. So I just want to name that at the beginning. Some of you have written me to ask if we could have a vigil on our front lawn. We can see that many people are holding rallies across the nation, and right now, it's a difficult position with this pandemic of when do we gather, how do we gather. Our newly formed COVID-19 task force, which you'll hear more about soon, will help provide some advisement to the board. But in the meantime, there's been this conversation about gathering in front of our sanctuary, and this has happened over the last few years of what does it mean when we gather there, and what does it mean to go to other people's gatherings? So right now, I want to encourage us to follow other people's lead and go to their gatherings if you feel safe enough. And I recognize that for not everyone will you feel safe enough to leave your house, to be in a crowd of people, even though physical distancing is advised. And that's okay, that there are other things you can do. As you saw on the Monday email from me, I listed things you can do that are not putting your health at risk. If you are looking for a place to gather with others, there is a rally in Orleans on Friday at 3 p.m. at Snow Library that you can join in on. There is a walk and protest in Harwich on Saturday at 2 p.m. that starts at Bank Street Beach. You could join in on as well. And there may be more to come in the days ahead. We will keep you posted. And we know that for some, they will be there. And for others, they will feel conflicted about the fact that they don't feel safe enough to go. And just remember, there are other ways to protest as well. So many of you know I returned to Cape Cod last Friday. I flew in. Flying was a different experience. All of the middle seats were empty. I could smell disinfectant on the plane. They required masks. Not everyone wore theirs. I had feelings about that. And the airport was fairly empty. So it was an interesting experience. And when I returned to Massachusetts at the Boston airport, there was a sign saying, "Visitors, please self-quarantine for 2 weeks." So I returned. I got my garden going over the weekend. So wonderful to see so many of you in our worship service on Sunday. It's good to be back, and it's hard to be here in the midst of so much that's happening that at times looking out and seeing the goldfinch at my feeders. I haven't had any Orioles yet, but I'm ready for them. The grape jelly and oranges are out. But I will look at that goldfinch that's so beautiful and think about how much hurt is happening. And it's hard to hold both of those, but hold them we must. Yesterday, I had a day full of Zoom meetings. Last week, I took the weekdays off for vacation, and I'm so grateful to other staff members for helping to hold things down so that I could. But that means that when I return always from vacation, there is a long list of emails and usually a day full of meetings, and yesterday was no exception. So last night in between meetings, I was cutting up some lettuce in my kitchen. And sometimes we do things that we know we're not supposed to do, but we do them anyways because we think we're the exception, or maybe we're not paying attention. So I was cutting some lettuce, but I was holding the head of lettuce in my hand and a very sharp knife, and I cut my finger. Very deep. I got to go to the ER. I got to experience a COVID test. I am negative. It is one of the most unpleasant things I've ever experienced. And I cut so deep that I severed a nerve in my finger. So I'm having surgery tomorrow afternoon to reconnect that nerve. This is not what I want to be doing right now. And I'm aware that in the midst of everything happening, it feels a little self-indulgent. Oh, Rufus found a toy, if you hear squeaking in the background. It feels a little self-indulgent to even be having this conversation. But I thought I should let you all know I'm sure I will make it through just fine. But how do we handle when things go wrong, when everything else is going wrong, is something that I'm just sitting with today. How do we live with that? I told a friend of mine, I felt like, do you remember that children's book, Alexander and the No Good, Very Bad, Horrible Day? That's what I felt like yesterday. And yet, as I woke up this morning, I said, today's a new day. And I will keep saying that. And I hope you're saying that. And I hope you're tending to your heart right now. Know that I love you very much. We will make it through this together. Be careful with sharp knives. Don't cut lettuce holding it in your hand. Word to the wise. I'm going to be just fine. I look forward to seeing you this Sunday, where we will welcome new members. We will have our flower communion, and we will name how complicated it is to have a service that should be celebratory in the midst of so much heartbreak. I also want to do one last reminder about Vespers tonight. Please do join us for Vespers tonight. It will be a place to rest your heart and feel connected. Take good care.